Hi, I'm Juanita Davis, and I'm a fit mother of 3.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle, and today we have Juanita, fit mother of 3. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. So, first, can you give us some background about yourself, hometown, occupation, and your age?
I am 40. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and I'm a psychotherapist and yoga teacher.
Okay, you're 40. You look great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, when did you start your health and fitness journey? When did you discover yoga?
So it was 2010. So I've been doing yoga for about 8 or 9 years, and it was more of a way to deal with anxiety.
Oh,
so
okay.
a way to improve my mental health.
Your mental health.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what would you say? So would you say that your mental health is what drives your passion for continuing yoga today?
Absolutely. I think that just feeling good mentally, physically, emotionally is definitely what drives my passion.
Okay. So once you became pregnant, were you able to keep up with your yoga routines?
So I actually did not start doing yoga until after
Oh, really?
I had my last
Oh,
child.
okay.
Yeah. So prior to that, it wasn't consistent. My
Okay.
fitness or yoga or anything like that. So it was after pregnancy that
Okay.
my journey began.
Okay. So what was your diet like during your pregnancy?
Because my journey hadn't begun. I just had a regular diet. I mean, I didn't have any cravings, like specific cravings or anything like that. I just kind of ate a normal. I think it was a balanced diet, but my diet now, and I don't usually like to call it diet, but just the way that I eat now versus then was a little bit different. I'm a little bit more conscious about what I eat now than I was then, just because I didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you say your eating lifestyle is more like now than it was back then?
I try to eat like whole foods, so minimally processed foods, and just trying to. Sometimes I'll do like intermittent fasting, where I'll stop eating at maybe like 7 or 8, and then I'll eat 8 or 9 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just try to organic as much as I can.
How does the fasting work for you? When did you start that? Because I know like that's really popular going around. Was it difficult to start doing that?
So it's not something that I do all the time,
Okay.
but I don't do like fasting, like where I fast for an entire day. The way my body's set up, that just doesn't work for me. But so it's just something I read about, and you do. You stop eating at a certain time, and I think maybe you could do 12 to 16 hours, and you kind of, don't eat until the next day. So it was relatively easy, like, again, because I don't do it on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's just once in a while, maybe a couple times a week.
Okay. And as far as eating organic and whole foods, what would you say? Because I know like those foods can get a little pricey. So what would you say? Like any advice for anybody else who's looking to start that kind of diet? How you can budget out that kind of plan?
The farmer's market is a really great and inexpensive place to shop, and I think that's a misconception that people have, that it's more expensive to buy organic foods. I mean, sometimes they're a little bit more expensive, but it's really not that expensive, especially if you follow. It's called the Dirty Dozen.
Mm-hmm.
So there are like 12 foods that you should always try to buy organic. So things like strawberries and blueberries, and so my rule of thumb is if it doesn't have a peel, then it needs to be organic.
Okay.
So that's just a general. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that any issues you had postpartum, like your postpartum mental health, was that factor to you starting yoga?
I don't. You know what? I have 3 of them, so
Okay.
so it was definitely just being a mom of 3 and working and all of that. So I wouldn't say that I had postpartum like depression or anxiety or anything, but definitely some feeling overwhelmed.
Right.
Is what drew me to the practice.
So after giving birth, did you have any baby weight issues? Did you struggle bouncing back or anything like that?
I did not.
You didn't?
I would say with my second child, I didn't know that it was an issue. You know how sometimes you don't realize that you gain weight until you see pictures of yourself. So I think that was looking back at pictures. I was like, oh, I was a little chunky. Okay, but no, I wouldn't say that I had any problems.
What would you say is your perspective on your health and fitness? Do you treat it as more of a family thing, or is it something that you use as self-care or like me time for yourself?
It is definitely for me. Okay. I think as moms, we usually put ourselves on the back burner, and that is my time for myself. I think with my yoga practice, because it is definitely more of an inward practice, it's difficult to have children around while you're doing that. So I tried it, but for me, it's definitely more of a just self-care, and so I don't include my children in that. They have their soccer and their thing. And I have mine.
Do your kids do yoga? Have you ever introduced yoga?
They have, yeah. They have gotten on the mat, and I've done like a class with them. And kids yoga is it's different. They like it, but it's not something that we do really often. But I have introduced it to them, as well as like meditation and things like that.
Okay.
But they're really more into soccer is their thing. So
Soccer.
they're like, we want to go to the soccer field, and so yeah.
Okay. And how many times a week do you practice yoga?
So right now, like I said, it changes.
Okay.
It changes. So right now it's about twice a week, and then I go to the gym maybe about 3 times a week for like cardio. I get on the elliptical and maybe do like a cycling class or something like that.
Okay. And so when you go to the gyms, what other kind of workouts do you do besides yoga? I know you said cardio.
Yeah, I'll get on the elliptical, or maybe do a cycling class, or like a weight training class. And if I'm home, I do yoga at home.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll go to a studio or or the gym for yoga, but usually yoga is here, and then cardio is at the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
So having 3 kids, how do you find the time to balance having a full-time job and then also keeping up with your yoga routine? Like, when do you find the time?
Over the years, it has changed. I think that I have been very flexible and kind of go with the flow with their schedules and my schedule, so I get it in when I can. Sometimes that means doing it while they're asleep or while they're in school, or just taking a step back and maybe going to the gym. So it depends.
Okay. What advice would you give any moms who are struggling to balance their time with maintaining their health and fitness lifestyle, who also have a lot of kids like yourself?
I would say to find what works for you. Trial and error, and try not to look at other people to kind of tell you what that should look like. You have to really just figure it out, what works best. Okay. So just being flexible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.